22nd of May, 1962. Continental Airlines Flight 11 leaves Chicago O'Hare International Airport en route to Kansas City. The 37 passengers are attended to by the stewardesses on their last flight of the day, all looking forward to getting home. Air traffic controllers initially advised the highly experienced captain to fly at 28,000 feet. But with a storm on the horizon, they agreed to climb to 39,000 feet to avoid the storm.
Thunderstorms are very dangerous to aircraft on a number of levels. So the flight crew state that they would like to divert and get around the thunderstorm. ATC agree this, and the aircraft starts to maneuver to stay within the clear weather.
Air traffic controllers watch Flight 11 climb to 36,800 feet when suddenly the flight disappears from radar.
And that would be the real gut-wrenching moment of realizing this plane is gone. They're getting no response over the radio. They're getting no response when they call.
Air traffic controllers put out a call to authorities in the last known area. Local police can find nothing. It seems the plane has simply vanished. Until a farming family make a stunning discovery on their land.
We was the first people to find the plane. We walked up on it there about 4 o'clock in the morning, and there was nobody around. It was just as silent as it could be.
When the silence is broken, it leads them to a bizarre discovery.
There was a gentleman moaning, and he was a Japanese fella, and there wasn't a scratch on him. He wasn't hurt at all, no broken bones.
A 27-year-old passenger, Takahiko Nakano, reclines across a row of 3 intact seats. Somehow, Nakano has survived a fall from 36,000 feet. He seems dazed and understandably confused, but otherwise in good health.
When the help got there, they got him out of the plane, and he come to, and they told him what had happened.
But when Nakano is told what's happened to him, it proves fatal.
He died then of shock, which back then they had no treatment for shock.
As soon as day breaks, other locals start calling in debris on their land.
People in that area are finding pieces of plane. So there was a man who went into his yard and found a jet engine, pieces of metal and mechanisms from the aircraft just scattered everywhere. A woman went out to her barn and found a body lying near it. And they found napkins with Continental logos on it 150 miles from the impact point. It was everywhere.
What could cause a plane, showing no signs of distress, to drop from the sky? With their only eyewitness dead from shock, investigators hope the debris can tell a story. Gary Barrickman was involved in the search for debris.
I was on the sheriff's posse. That was a voluntary group that here was in town of about 20 guys that didn't get no pay, but we helped the sheriff.
It's an enormous task.
For the next 10 days or so, we spent picking up pieces and putting them together. And it was about an 8-mile area that we walked. There was 3 or 4 gentlemen there that I never know and never met them. They said they was FBI people.
With the help of the FBI, the Civil Aeronautics Board take the debris to a fairground in a local town. Using a 4-foot-tall stack of Boeing construction manuals, they begin reassembling the plane.
We made a framework. We built it out of 2x4s, and it was a real strange-looking thing. It looked like a big table frame, you know. Then they was hanging the pieces on the side of it, like putting a puzzle together is what it was. They went by the lettering on the plane, and they went by the windows.
Investigators notice that some fragments of the fuselage are smaller than others. Before long, an unsettling pattern emerges.
So you've got big pieces of wreckage that reduce in size as they get closer and closer to that lavatory. So now that they know whatever the force was which broke the plane, it started in the lavatory.
To their horror, investigators realize they are piecing together evidence of a bomb.
There's nothing in a plane that can explode that's going to take everything down from the lavatory. So now they know that it has to have been sabotaged.
Lab tests confirm the presence of explosive residue on the fragments around the toilet. There is no doubt that the plane was brought down by a bomb. But who planted it? And why? Investigators pore through passenger lists. Of particular interest is the last passenger to board the plane, Thomas Doty. Doty, a failed businessman, is due to be in court the following week, accused of attempting to steal a woman's purse. Investigators also discover that Doty purchases life insurance at the airport.
Oh, sir.
In those days, buying life insurance before a flight is commonplace. But Doty has taken out a premium policy worth $250,000, more than $2 million in today's money, and signs it over to his wife. When the FBI trace Doty's final days, they discover that he pays a visit to a hardware store. The owner remembers Doty making an unusual purchase.
The FBI investigation were able to trace the purchase of 6 sticks of dynamite,
Investigators conclude that, having bought security for his wife, at 36,000 feet, the bankrupt Doty places the dynamite in the cabin toilet. America and the world has its first airplane suicide bomber.
the point of the sabotage of the plane was to leave his pregnant wife and 5-year-old daughter with enough money to be able to get by without him.
But Doty's murderous plan is ultimately undone by the dogged work of the air crash investigators.
As a result of this case, the life insurance companies did a big PR campaign and a crackdown, basically saying if there is any sign of sabotage, we will not pay out. In the case of Doty, his wife received $12.50 to refund the premiums and said these premiums are no longer valid and we are not paying out.
The telltale debris pattern of a bomb, as witnessed in the Doty case, becomes required reading for future air crash investigators.